Welcome back, my friends. Episode 359. I want to start out today's episode with a quote. Frank Ostasekki wrote a book called The 5 Invitations, Discovering What Death Can Teach Us About Living Fully. In it he writes, "The habits of our lives have a powerful momentum that propels us toward the moment of our death. The obvious question arises, what habits do we want to create? Our thoughts are not harmless. Thoughts manifest as actions, which in turn develops into habits. And our habits ultimately harden into character. Our unconscious relationship to thoughts can shape our perceptions, trigger reactions, and predetermine our relationship to the events of our lives." I really like this quote, and when I read it, I knew I wanted to start today's episode on habits with it. Because everything we do, including our habits, starts with our thoughts. But for the conversations around habit forming, our thoughts are critical, because they either hinder or support us on our quest. You may wonder, why do we even need habits? Habits help us navigate life. They are strategies we have put in place to get us through the problems we face day to day. They get us up and ready for work in the morning, or they keep us comfortable in bed but without a job. They help us get our work done, or they distract us and make us fall behind. They help us accumulate or chase money, and they help us to bed on time, to get some good rest, or they keep us up all night long and wear us out. Our habits run our life, some more successfully than others. Our habits might be responsible for our professional and financial success, but the same habits might also be responsible for the struggles with the relationships in our life and maybe our health. When faced with a unique challenge, we become creative and address it. If the result of our effort was rewarding, we might do the same action again next time when we are faced with a similar situation. When I lived in Texas, the summers were hot, unbearably hot. One summer, I had just started to work out in the gym at night. I came home and I didn't feel like eating a hot dinner. I felt like eating ice cream. I was always good about ice cream, only on weekends and only a little bit. But suddenly I thought, why not ice cream for dinner? Only once. Well, ice cream for dinner is really pretty good, and the next evening I did it again. It tasted amazing. It was hot. I had just worked out. It was perfect. It was the perfect meal. And before I knew it, I did it every night. I looked forward to my ice cream dinner until I noticed my weight going up, despite me working out. That's when I ended this sweet habit. Looking back at this, I realized most habits start exactly this way. A problem presents itself. We seek a solution. The solution feels good, and we repeat it. We get into a first fight with our new partner, so we try shutting down and not speaking for a day. This seems to be working as the problem dissipates, and peace is reinstated the day after. So the next time we fight, we do the same. This is how habits are formed. The outcome feels good, my ice cream example, or it seems to address the problem at hand, the silent treatment. We adopt the behavior and we repeat it, often not knowing that this may not be the most effective solution. But since our brain can predict what will happen next because our solution has been tried before, it wants us to repeat it. The first time you face a problem, it's new and scary, but as you continue to face the same problem again, the more your brain starts to automate the solution. Afraid of newness and risk, the brain seeks comfort. This worked, so let's do it again. A glass of wine with dinner seems to take the edge off, so let's keep doing it. Showing up late for work, nobody seems to notice, so we can get by with this. Yelling at people gets the job done, so that's what we do when problems arise. When you come up with the same solution each time you incur the same situation, you form a habit. However, we are not robots. Sure, it can feel that way sometimes. Turning on the light in our house when it's dark or driving home from work can feel like we're doing it without even noticing. But our thoughts play an important role in habit formation. We can engage them if we choose to. My favorite example, and you've probably heard this before, is the pink donut box that shows up in my office every Friday. Without fail, someone always brings donuts. You can see how people can easily begin to rely on those donuts. I even think about them, and I don't even eat them. Some people probably think about them on their way in. They're planning breakfast around those donuts, maybe even picking up a coffee in anticipation of those donuts. I observe that those donuts on Friday are a habit for many people in my office. By mid-morning, the box is down to 2 to 3 donuts, which then get slowly chipped away at over the course of the afternoon. I walk past that box several times a day when I go to the kitchen or the printer. It stands out among all those drab office colors. And every time I see it, I remind myself of the awful aftertaste donuts leave in my mouth, the lard sticking to my gums and making my stomach turn. I see, I think, I respond, and I'm rewarded. My coworkers eat the donuts and feel good, I assume. I see the donuts. I think about the negative effects they have. I respond by not eating them. And my reward is that I was strong and I resisted the donuts, and this makes me feel good. 2 sides of habits. Both times, there is a cue, what we see, the donuts. And based on previous behaviors, our thoughts will encourage us to react similarly. Most of the time, the donuts don't interest me because I'm not a huge donut fan. I walk past them, mostly admiring the color of the box, with no interest for its contents. But there are times when I peek inside just to see. Then I really have to involve my thoughts and remind myself of how bad they make me feel. Let me read you part of the quote from the beginning again. The obvious question arises: what habits do we want to create? Our thoughts are not harmless. Thoughts manifest as actions, which in turn develop into habits. And our habits ultimately harden into character. Our unconscious relationship to thoughts can shape our perceptions, trigger reactions, and predetermine our relationship to the events of our lives. The emphasis here is on the word unconscious. Habitual behaviors often occur unconsciously. They have been ingrained through repetitive actions, because every time we act, we get a positive or at least a workable outcome. And that is the point. We want behaviors on autopilot. This makes our life easier. It saves us valuable time and energy having to make the same decisions again and again. The brain is always learning based on the experiences we are going through, and then it updates its predictions and approaches the next time around based on those experiences. So if we want to establish new or different habits, we need to focus on the thoughts that precede the behavior. It is difficult to control our environment, and I will talk more about some things that we can do in another episode. But there will be donuts and cookies and snacks all the time, and there will be frequent disagreements in our relationships. If we want to change the outcome because it leads to weight gain or problems in our marriage, then we need to change the habits that lead to those outcomes. Habits are best changed in the gap between the cue and the reaction, between what you see and what you think, because what we see drives our thoughts. Oh goody, it's Friday, time for donuts. Here we go again, another one of those arguments. And those thoughts, if not changed, then lead to the same behaviors as last time. And while there may be a momentary favorable outcome, the one that we like and that we're used to, the long-term result may not work for us anymore. A desire to change an outcome means not only a change in habit, but it's in essence a lifestyle change. This is where we get it wrong with crash diets and short-term solutions. We think we can change routines and habits that have been ingrained over a lifetime in the next 30 days. If you've tried it, you know. It's just not that easy to turn off old habits or exchange them for new ones. we will always lean towards doing the familiar. So my friends, before setting risky New Year's resolutions, it's a good idea to think in broader terms and ask, what am I looking to change? What about my life do I want to be different? Exercise more, eat healthier, those number one goals for most people. Know that exercise is not something you do for 30 days and then check it off. If you are seeking to exercise more, then it means you want to do it regularly for the rest of your life, or not? Do you want to just eat healthy for 30 days and think that does the job? Or do you want to adopt a healthy lifestyle going forward because you want to live a longer life and be fit to travel when you retire? Find out. Get to the bottom of what you are really seeking to change. When we take this broader look at our goals, they will change. From these isolated and often useless goals that we sometimes set, like lose X number of pounds, to goals that address a long-term need that we have. As such, they will be more integrated. They will allow us to dig deeper. They will be a bigger change, one that starts from the inside. Yes, such a change will take longer. It's not solved with a crash diet, but it will last longer. And it will, like my exercise example, affect other areas of our life in a positive way. And that is what I want to leave you with for today. We will dig deeper into habits in upcoming episodes. But for now, think about the changes you're really trying to make. Much love.